All right, friends, it's T and I'm back with another video for reviewing. It's by you know who, man, Jason Blaha, strength and fitness baloney fitness dude. Yes, the gym lifting, recruiting lifting slave. Anyways, I'm gonna review this video, man. It's gonna be interesting too. Jason Blaha says 5 old school exercises that will build your entire body. I already know what he's talking about. The big four. And then we're talking about calisthenics. Yes, because bodybuilding is calisthenics. It's incorporated in it. That's why people do dips and that's why they do pull-ups. Okay, those are body weight exercises. They're just not doing it properly or enough to get this type of damage to, spark some growth. Okay, anyways, let's hear what he has to say.
Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and today I want to chat with you guys a little bit about the 5 old school movements. These were done even by classic bodybuilders back in the day, that if you only did these 5 exercises, it would build every muscle in your body. Now, when I make that statement, I do not mean that you will necessarily have perfect proportions. I don't mean that every muscle will be maximally developed. That will probably take some additional refinement. So I want to make that clear right up front.
Okay, here's the question. Why do bodybuilders look so massively big, but powerlifters on steroid? I'm talking about steroid people. Let's talk about steroid people. Why do powerlifters look so frigging small and weak, but bodybuilders look so jacked and huge? Now, the power lifters in the past that I knew about back in the 70s, I say from magazines, I seen some power lifters. They just looked jacked as hell, man. They were like bodybuilders that power lifted. Here's the thing. You probably don't know this, but Arnold Schwarzenegger, before he could ever touch a weight in the gym, he had mentioned that he'd done Olympic lifting and powerlifting before he could even bodybuild. So what does that say? In the past, it was totally different. It's a mix of everything. Bodybuilding is building your body, so it incorporates everything. You could call it Olympic lifting, powerlifting, bodybuilding. It's all incorporated in one thing. If people think that bodybuilding is just some dude, he's doing accessory work to get really big and massive. No, man, they do everything. Okay, but now let's go back to natural people. A natural bodybuilder and a natural power lifter. The natural bodybuilder will always be bigger and stronger than the power lifter. And I don't care what anybody says. And I'm talking about the natural world.
When I say this, I am not saying these are all you will ever need, and I'm not saying this is going to build a perfect physique, okay? What I am saying is that these 5 classic movements, which actually require minimal equipment, okay, they require just the basics, a basic rack, basic bench, barbell plates, chin-up belt. They will build everything. And these are movements that I obviously do, but I also have.
They don't build anything. They can cause damage to your body. Food will build your body. But if you don't eat enough food and you get damage, you'll get an apoptosis and you'll lose muscle. But Blaha keeps saying that all these exercises will build your body. Well, where's his body? Where's the proof that these build his body, these exercises? Because I don't see the proof, okay? Me, I can prove my body. My body's still, even at my old age, and I don't even lift weights anymore. When I reached my goal back in like the late 90s, I was done with bodybuilding. You understand me? Done with lifting, bodybuilding, and all this stuff. I reached my goal, and that's it. It was permanent, it stayed, and that's it. I don't have to do it anymore, okay? It pretty much even stayed to this day, all the way to my late 40s. My lifts were still pretty good. I could still squat 500 and do a bunch of stuff. So I don't really care. You understand me? The most important thing in my old age is still to keep my lifts up, heavy, somewhat, but keep enough muscle on my body. You understand me? At my height, 250 pounds, I'm a top competitor. You understand me? I'm a top competitor at 250 pounds. I've got low body fat at 12%, and I'm a top competitor at 250 pounds right now in my old age at 56. So, yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. But I could tell you, with every decade, you're going down. You're going down with every decade. It's a known fact. Ask anybody who's reached their 50s, 60s, and moving on to 70s. They'll tell you the same thing. You're going downhill. You're going downhill. You're always going downhill. The gym is just there to help you to get better. You're always going to a gym to try to get better. That's the whole thing. I'm getting better. Yeah, you're getting better. That's why you go to gyms. Gyms are not a place to show off or I got to lift the heaviest weight or anything. The gym is there for you to try to get better, to become a better version of yourself, whatever, because you're going downhill fast, man. That's all I can tell you with old age.
To do other stuff for my weak points, like my arms and stuff. But for someone who...
He's always talking about his weak points, my arms and stuff, but those arms are never growing. Nothing is growing. It's all weak points. His back is kyphosis. He's got nothing on his back, okay? He's suffering from sarcopenia. It's kind of obvious. You could see it.
Who isn't struggling with arms genetically, these may be close to enough. So let's talk about what these 5 movements are.
Look at this body. This is a steroid body. He's taking steroids. He's taken steroids pretty much all his life. He's never been off of it. And this is what he has to show for it. Nothing. Because it's zero. Get it? I take drugs to lift a heavy weight. Okay, you take drugs to lift a heavy weight. What about the body? I forgot about the body to make it big and strong. I just want to lift heavy weights all my life. In limbo hell.
The lower body, I think, is very straightforward and easy. So I'll actually discuss those first because they're about to come up through the footage. Because I'm going to have these 5 movements showing through here. So the squat and the deadlift. And we have plenty of...
Okay, the squat and the deadlift. Yes, the squat and deadlift. Here's the problem. If you're in too much of a hurry to lift a heavy weight and get an adaptation through let's say, force production, your body to increase chemical force production, you'll forget about the body and you'll leave it behind. One is moving faster than the other. Here's the thing. Muscles, they don't want to build because they need to carry you through a famine. They're very specific. And when muscles do get damaged in an adaptation, they get bigger. They do definitely get bigger and stronger in an adaptation, providing you eat enough in that first adaptation. I don't know about the second or third or fourth adaptation that you're trying to get. I can't tell you for sure. You could get some damage. Definitely get an apoptosis, but if you don't eat enough, then there's nothing going on there. It won't even donate its nuclei to support further muscle growth because they synthesize protein. Without nuclei, you cannot synthesize protein. You cannot further that domain, no matter how much you lift. So Blaha's crazy. You understand me? It's reached a ceiling limit beyond where the satellite cell could donate any more extra nuclei to that domain to support further muscle growth. So what do you need to do to push that domain? Well, it has nothing to do with lifting weights. You understand me? It has everything to do with eating in an anabolic growth state. And protein synthesis needs to exceed that breakdown. When it exceeds that breakdown and it's in an anabolic growth state, well, guess what happens? That means that proteins are now building in the muscle. They're building up. They'll get to a certain degree where the muscle cell can no longer support any more of these contractile proteins. So what happens? Well, when you're lifting and you are in an anabolic growth state and they are filled up, then the satellite cell will donate its nuclei to support what? Further muscle growth. Get it? Hypertrophy. That's how it works. But if you don't eat enough and keep lifting in the gym, that's why you're all complaining. You're small and stuck on newbie gains. I've reached my genetic limit, my newbie gain limit. I'm a hard gainer. All these excuses. Because you're never eating enough because you don't know how to eat. You're too focused on lifting. Listen, you're too focused going to the gym lifting for 3 hours, 4 hours. A lot of crazy people go there to lift for 4 hours thinking that's going to build their body. When in fact, focusing on 3 to 4 hours down at your local buffet is going to bust through any plateau and bust through any strength plateau will be busted eating at the buffet, and any plateau in muscle growth will be busted eating at the buffet. Get it? That's how you bust through it. But again, if you can't afford to eat, then don't waste your time. Keep going to the gym and damaging your muscles, you're damaging your body, damaging and damaging over and over again repetitively, is in lifting what I call what I call lifting hell. That's what I call it. It's hell. That's what it is. What is the point of going there and doing that? You're never reaching your goal. I know you have a goal, but you never reach it. That's why I call them gym slaves and lifting slaves. You're all gym and lifting slaves because you've never totally reached your goals. And then there are some people that reach a goal. Let's say in lifting, they've reached the goal in lifting. Maybe they're not satisfied, but they reached the goal there. They reached the goal in the lifting. And then they're a slave to the lift. Why? Because it's not supported by muscle. It's supported by androgen receptors, chemical strength. It's supported by chemical strength. It isn't supported anymore by muscle because you never built any muscle to support that lift. You understand me? That's how crazy people are.
Research on this, we have plenty of data. EMG studies, hypertrophy studies, we know that between these two movements, your entire lower body will grow. We also know they will help.
No, it won't. It won't grow if there isn't any sufficient nuclei to support further muscle growth. You understand me? This is what I'm trying to explain to you. They're not going to grow just because you're lifting a weight. He's lying to you, and I can prove it. Look. This is for people that are new to my channel, that don't know this. That's all this is for, okay? People on my channel, they already know this. This is called MND size. What determines myonuclear domain size? What determines it? It's really simple. MND size has a ceiling limit during hypertrophic process beyond which extra myonuclei are donated by the satellite cell to do what? To support further muscle growth. See that? So no matter how much you lift, it is beyond where extra myonuclei are donated by satellite cell to what? Support further muscle growth. So why isn't he growing? He's talking about that you do these exercises and then you're going to magically grow. So why isn't he growing?
Help provide additional core stimulation, lower back, potentially trapezius, some cases lat, all of those things. But
look, it's easy to say something. You could speak all you want, but body will do the talking. Here for me on my channel, some people wrote me in the comments section. They try to write me some stupid shit. But yeah, I don't know, on my last video, some dude wrote me something. And I'm like, yeah, but body does the talking. I'm speaking, but body he goes, oh, you're coming after big influencers, big YouTubers like Scott Herman. Ooh, I'm coming after him. I'm reviewing his videos. I'm not coming after him. I don't give a shit about Scott Herman. He's a loser. I don't care what he does. He's a YouTuber. He lives on YouTube, okay? That's his job, YouTube. Whatever. So I don't really give a shit about Scott Herman. I just reviewed his video. That's all I did. I'm not coming after him at all. He's never grown. His body is just, the only thing he grew was low body fat. He's never grown any muscle like Blaha. Blaha's growing low body fat. He bulked and now he's cutting. He's cutting down back to his natural state, his natural body, Blaha.
A classic barbell squat and a deadlift, okay? They will both stimulate very large amounts of muscle throughout the body with definitely a bias towards the lower body.
No, they won't. They won't stimulate any growth. They don't stimulate growth. You want to know what's, I'm going to tell you, man, people, one more time. You want to know what stimulates growth? Food. And I mean shitloads of food. Shitloads, bro. Yeah, that'll stimulate growth. But and the lifting. So you need to lift, but you need to lift to get an adaptation. Without the adaptation process, there's nothing for the body to build. You understand me? Look, there has to be a relative amount of structural damage in the body for something to build, because in muscle damage, these micro injuries, the T cells come around, they clean up the dead tissue. When they clean up the dead tissue, and that's all cleaned up and everything, they can start rebuilding bigger and stronger than the last time. Yeah.
studies on the back squat, and people
But it won't do that if it's not in an anabolic growth state during that period.
will say, well, that's really just for quads. Not necessarily. An actual squat in hypertrophy studies has actually been found to grow the glutes and the adductors at a slightly higher.
Again, no weight grows muscles. They damage muscles. Lifting damages muscles in an adaptation. And then they grow when they're in an anabolic growth state, called protein synthesis exceeds breakdown. When they say that in NCBI, protein synthesis exceeds breakdown, what they're trying to tell you is to be in a positive nitrogen balance, to be in an anabolic growth state where there's no longer, the contractile proteins are no longer breaking down. They are building up in the muscle cells to the point where they can't, the cell itself can't support any more contractile proteins. So what needs to give? The satellite cell needs to donate its nuclei to support what? Further muscle growth. Get it? Because they can't support any more growth in an anabolic growth state. You understand me? But the satellite cell will not donate its nuclei if the cell itself has not exceeded that limit. It's really simple.
Percentage than it does the quads, although it will absolutely grow the quads and the deadlift.
It absolutely will not grow the quads. It'll absolutely cause muscle damage, and if you don't eat enough, it'll shrink the quads in an apoptosis, like it says in science. You're in a necrosis and an apoptosis, and muscle degradation now. Listen to the word degradation. Should I bring this up too as well for you people? Okay. In my community section, I posted it there. I talked about it in the last video. The different modes in hypertrophy. You'll find it in my community section way down here somewhere. Hold on. I don't know where it is exactly. Here it is. This is NCBI. The different modes of hypertrophy in skeletal muscle. The different modes. And then you scroll over. It says muscle hypertrophy is defined as an increase in the ratio of cytoplasm. The increase in ratio of cytoplasm to nucleus, whereas hyperplasia is defined as nuclear division. Remember that nuclear division? Myonuclear domain size limit, the division. And an increase in the number of cells. Okay. In contrast, hypertrophy of skeletal muscle is thought to involve an increase in number of nuclei. See that? Hypertrophy in skeletal muscle is thought to involve an increase in the number of what? Nuclei, as well as an increase in what? Cytoplasmic volume. So when that cytoplasmic volume, I should say it like that, contractile proteins. Okay, so this cytoplasmic volume has to reach a limit during that hypertrophic process, right? And, with muscle damage and everything, it has to reach that limit before the satellite cell can donate its nuclei to that domain to support further muscle growth. So what do you need to be? In an anabolic growth state. Okay, hypertrophy of skeletal muscle therefore incorporates part of the definition of hyperplasia, an increase in the number of what? Nuclei. And what do nuclei do? They support further muscle growth. As a further complication, the addition of nuclei may come from internal nuclear division or fused satellite cells and their donated nuclei, thus evidence of DNA synthesis, a hallmark of hyperplasia. And if you go into myonuclei precedes hypertrophy are not lost on detraining, that detraining thing, people think it's nuclei training or some shit. That thing from NCBI, it tells you down there, it says they synthesize protein. That's what they do. Without him, forget it. You're wasting your time, man. All right, you're wasting your time. You need a donation of these nuclei to support further muscle growth.
Will have secondary stimulus over to the quads. Its contribution to the hamstrings is very, very minimal. We only see very small amounts of muscle growth in the hamstrings from it, but everything else grows.
Okay, where? Show us on your body that they're growing, Blaha. Show us on your body where they're growing. You keep saying all these things, that you're doing all these lifts, right? These things that are going to put on muscle on your body and can do all this kind of stuff. Show us, where is it? Because I don't see anything. I don't see
The
anything.
same when you start even looking at calves, look at some of the EMG data on calves, what do you find? It lights them up. Now, there haven't been studies on the actual
I know
hypertrophy
I
yet.
know people that keep coming to the gym day in and day out, and they're never changing, and the scale is never moving, but yet they keep coming to the gym and they keep lifting. Why? What is the purpose of going to the gym lifting if the scale is not moving and your body's not changing? Why are they going there? What's the purpose? To waste time?
And EMG doesn't always carry over to that, but we do know that calves are worked at least decently based upon the data we have on the back squat. So again, the back squat itself, just because of the muscles involved in being so good for the quads and glutes, will put more total muscle on you than any other lift you can do, because those are the two biggest muscles in the body. And they will grow significantly from it. And again,
They will not grow. They will not grow if there's insufficient nuclei to support further muscle growth. They will not grow. They will not grow. They will never grow. And they're not growing. So forget it. That's why people take steroids, because they don't know how to build muscles. So they rather fake it to make it than actually really make it, because they're losers.
the data on that is very, very clear. Okay?
Here's the funny thing. They wouldn't eat 10,000 calories when they were doing it naturally, when they could have built their body naturally, and it would stay. So they didn't want to eat 10,000 calories then, but then they go and they buy steroids, and the first thing they do, they start going, oh, I'm eating 10,000 calories, and they start, moving, they start working harder in the gym, working harder at it, and they start eating 10,000 calories, which is even more stupid. They didn't do it previously, but then they did it when they took the drugs, which is a waste anyways, eating 10,000 calories, taking steroids, because when you're off the steroids, it's all artificial growth. It'll all go away.
Quads and glutes always grow in hypertrophy studies from the back squat.
Yes, they do. All of these exercises are going to make you grow. You know what type of growth? Inflammatory response. That's what you're going to get. Inflammation, that growth. You're going to come in and repetitively inflame your muscles and walk around with inflamed muscles and come back and then inflame them the next day and the next day. Why do these guys advocate full body workouts? Want to know why? Because then they go 3 days a week so that you can inflame your muscles and walk around with them being totally inflamed. If you do bro splits, then one looks unproportionate to the other muscle. That's why they don't advocate doing bro splits. They say they don't work for hypertrophy, because all you're doing is inflaming your muscles. All of you reached an MD size limit. You don't eat, you don't do anything. So you go to the gym and you lift and you get an inflammatory response. Well, it looks unproportionate, doesn't it? If you're doing your back, then then you do the chest, then you do shoulders, arms, whatever. It's all split up. Then the inflammatory response is split up. Get it? That's why they keep advocating. They say you get better growth when you do full body workouts 3 times a week. You do. You get better growth in hypertrophy and inflammatory response 3 days a week. So you could walk around 3 days a week perfectly inflamed, and not one muscle would be out of place.
It was pushed with any degree of intensity. All right, deadlifts. We've had only one hypertrophy study looking at the deadlift, and it was an absolute monster. Absolute monster.
The deadlift is the most bullshit exercise in the world. It is not a monster. It's not going to build anything. The range of the motion in a deadlift there's not enough eccentric movement to cause any damage to the myofibulars. And again, you're not eating enough. So there's no point. You understand me? And there's not enough metabolic stress, because you're not really standing there holding the weight. Maybe if you stood up holding 700 pounds, counting to like 200 or 300 or something, holding that weight, that's called metabolic stress. See what I mean? That could cause a disruption to the cells, where they're forced to grow and even allocate the small amount of calories that you're eating. That's a possibility. But I don't see anybody standing still with 300 pounds, a 300-pound deadlift, standing in the middle of the row while everybody passes by. They're just going to stand there counting to 300 or whatever, some astronomically high number.
For just putting muscle on people. Glutes and hamstrings.
Yeah, doesn't put any muscle on him. He does heavy deadlifts. Doesn't put any muscle on him. I don't see it. I hear him speaking, but the body's talking. It says zero.
Strings obviously will get the brunt of the growth, but the spinal erectors get a ton of stimulus. Some guys do get definite back growth, traps and other things growing from it, forearms. Again, assuming you're doing all of it wrong. But yeah, the deadlift, way up there. And again, between those two, because again, it hits the hamstrings as a primary mover, still hits the quads to some extent. Glutes, adductors, both of them will work the low back, the abdominals, all of those things. Between
Again, if you don't eat, you're never gonna build your body. You're gonna be like Blaha. Blaha doesn't eat. He eats some tofu, pasta, and hot dogs with some mustard and beans and maybe rice. I don't know, whatever. You see what he buys, the food that he buys. It's frivolous food. Even I don't eat enough, and I eat better than Blaha. Okay, my body's bigger and stronger than his body. I don't even eat enough right now to really push that domain. If I were, I'd have to go eat for hours. But again, I still eat better than Blaha. I eat more than Blaha and eat better than Blaha. That's the thing. I eat quality food, which is better than what Blaha eats. I eat quality food. But again, if I really truly need to want to push that domain, I'm gonna have to be in an anabolic growth state. And that requires a lot of work to eat like that. Like in my old videos, I had buffet videos, I would go and eat for hours. But I never really, at that time too, I never really put in the effort. Really, I didn't put the effort enough in like I did in the old days, and I just go and eat like crazy. It's costly to eat these days now at a buffet. It's not gonna, like a few years ago, you could go still eat at a buffet for $10, or where I lived, but you can't do that anymore. It's $30 for a lunch. So you think about that. If you were to come in every day and spend $30, could you afford to spend $30? Well, it depends on your income, what's coming in, right? Maybe you could have before for $10. That'd be $50 for 5 days out of the week. That would be $50, right? But these buffets are going up in prices. Now you're paying 3 times that amount, $30 every day. Could you afford to spend that amount of money 5 days a week? You see what I mean? You're going to have to ask yourself that. That's why I try to tell people, build your body when you have the chance, because inflation is coming. There is a recession coming to the US, and you're not going to be able to afford to even eat quality anymore. Never mind eat at a buffet or anything. I don't know. I don't know if people can afford to do that anymore. Inflation is taking over.
those two exercises, your entire lower body will grow significantly. Will it necessarily be optimal?
Inflation it doesn't affect lifting in gyms. It doesn't affect weightlifting. What it affects is food, your pocketbook and food. You understand me? Those are that is the main recipe to building your body. Food. Without food, there's no point in lifting weights, going to a gym. You're just destroying yourself now.
Not necessarily, but you will still see significant growth in every single muscle in the lower body up to and including the calves.
You are never going to see significant growth in the body or the calves or whatever the hell he's talking about if you can't eat. It's really simple.
Right from
And eat the right food.
those two movements, and there will be some upper body growth, so there is some carryover there. All right, for the upper body,
Why does somebody have to say that there's going to be upper body growth? There's going to be some upper body growth there if you lift this weight. It's kind of obvious if you were to lift it, then there would be upper body growth, wouldn't there? But guess what? There isn't any upper body growth. That's why he has to keep telling you that. I'm telling you, if I go to a buffet and I eat for hours and hours, there's going to be upper body growth there. But I'm not going to get upper body growth just lifting a weight in a gym. You understand me? It's stupid. This is stupid. Here's another thing. It is very vitally important to eat loads of protein before you work out in the gym, because there's a degradation in protein. See what I mean? So you want to eat a lot of protein before you work out and then after you work out. If you can even manage that. Can you manage that? And I'm not talking about eating a coffee and donuts at the coffee shop or going to McDonald's. You know what I mean? Oh, I got to go to McDonald's and have the Happy Meal, then come back for the second Happy Meal. That's not going to work. It's going to make you insulin resistant, and that food is putrid.
These three movements will do anything that you want. First up, the bench press. Again, data on the bench press is extremely good. It tends to grow the delts, it grows the pecs if performed correctly.
It doesn't grow the pecs, it damages the pecs. Weights damage muscles. Any movement damages your muscles. Ask anybody that works any physical job that does something that they've never done before. They're gonna get damaged and get a lot of pain in their body. They're gonna feel pain. Shit, man. Even look, if you've never boxed before, boxing, and you go into an area and you start punching and boxing, there's twisting motions and you're punching and using your arms. It's a different type of exercise. You're gonna get damaged in your body. You're gonna feel pain. See what I mean? Yeah. So that's what they cause. They cause damage to your body. It's called an adaptation. And if you're not getting that, then there's no more adaptations. And then food is adaptory as well. There's adaptations when you're eating as well. If you're not eating, zero adaptations.
The pecs should get the majority of the growth. They will grow a ton from it. Anyone who says that they do.
I like how he just says, they will grow a ton from it. Okay, show us, Blaha, that it grows a ton from it. Blaha cannot show you that it grows a ton from it, but he could tell you, though, it's going to grow a ton from it. Okay, any proof, Blaha? Oh, zero proof. I guess it doesn't work.
Not get pec growth from the bench press. Doesn't.
Well, where's his pecs then? If it gives you all this pec growth, whatever he's doing there, where is it? Where is it? See what I mean? Want to know why building muscles big and strong is really hard to do? Because it's based on an adaptation system. That's why all you fucking doorknobs out there, I'm not talking about people on my channel, the asshole people that are out there watching this, Blaha's people or outside people, you don't fucking understand that building real muscle makes you super strong. The more muscle you could build out of an adaptation is going to make you big and strong. Then you're going to say, well, I saw a big, strong guy. He was weak because he didn't lift a heavy weight, because he's not practicing or lifting a heavy weight. Well, there are people that don't know how to build bodies. There are two types of hypertrophy. One is artificial sarcoplasmic hypertrophy and myofibrillar growth. Myofibrillar growth is based on what? Adaptations. What's an adaptation? Food is an adaptation. Eating in a deficit, in an anabolic growth state, and damaging muscles. That's how it works there. That requires a lot of work. Okay, let's see the artificial one. What is that based on? Oh, the pump. You're getting the pump, la 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 la. What else? I'm eating a lot of carbohydrates, more pump, and you're lifting weights in the gym in an adapted state. What are you getting? Sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. And then you're gonna tell people, hey, look, I got muscle growth because you blew up with a bunch of glycogen in your muscle. Give me a break, man. No wonder why you're so weak.
How to perform the exercise, and in all the literature, the stimulus and the hypertrophy is phenomenal in the entire chest, upper and lower. It will grow the anterior delts significantly, and it will grow the triceps with a focus on.
It will not grow the delts or the triceps. It will damage them, but food will grow them. Food will grow the delts and everything, not weights. He's stupid.
On the lateral head. The long head grows the least out of the tricep heads from the bench, at least in the studies, but you'll notice we have pullovers in there. Okay, but it will grow approximately half of the muscle tissue in the upper body. All right, then you have the chin up.
If you're asking me, if I was a coach, the first thing I would tell the person, I would ask them, do you have money? How much money do you have? It's the first thing I would ask them, how much money you got? And I go, if you can't afford to eat, then there's no point of me coaching you if you can't eat. It's really simple. If you can't eat, then I can't coach you. It's really simple, just like that. See what I mean? There's no point in coaching somebody if they can't afford to eat, because they can't build their body. They can't build their body, there is no point. If they think that weights are going to have magic powers to build bodies, well, dream on, dream on. That's why you're all failing, because weights don't build bodies. They'll make your body shrink. Lifting weights can shrink your body because it degrades proteins. You lose proteins when you come in. Yeah, you understand me? Huh. Yeah, there's protein degradation there when you lift weights. And also, if you get an adaptation and you don't eat, then you can lose muscle fibers as well. They could die in that adaptory state. So there you go. See, there's no point in coaching somebody that can't afford to eat because they're going to complain they're getting small. The reason why they don't want you to do these, what is it, these high volume workouts is because they know you're going to shrink in a high volume workout. Want to know why you're going to shrink doing high volume workouts? Because you're not eating enough. But then again, if you eat a lot of your slave diet, carbohydrates, which a lot of people do eat a lot of, carbohydrates, you may misconstrue blowing up with ATP in your muscle growth, but that's okay. Better to fake it than really make it, right?
Again, chin-ups actually a little more bicep dominant than a lot of other pulls. It will grow the lats significantly. It will grow the biceps and brachialis significantly. You'll actually see forearm growth from both of those.
No, you won't see any forearm growth from any of those. You won't see anything because Blaha doesn't have any. Why would you see any if you can't see it on him?
But chin-ups also work the trapezius, so particularly the lower and middle trap, whereas again the deadlift will tend to help with the upper. Okay, all of that will grow from a chin-up. Many people
No, no, it won't. It won't grow from just because of a chin up. No.
argue that they feel like it's the best bicep exercise. I disagree. I do think curls can be slightly better. I personally do curls. I have to do curls, but a lot of people have developed quite good biceps off of
The majority of these people, their body fats, they're already ectomorphs. Their body fat just gets even lower, so there's more muscularity exposed, but they're still small. Because I mean, you're gonna have people talk about their body weight, and they're gonna say, "Well, I weigh 160 pounds, 150 pounds, 170, 180." Bro, I weigh 250 pounds. You understand me? That's a lot. Compared to somebody that's weighing in 150, 60, 70, 80, 90, or 200 pounds, being 250 is a lot. See what I mean?
really strong at chin-ups. So they will absolutely grow your biceps, and there is no question about that. So
The question is this: you're getting older. You're losing muscle as you get older. If you don't build it when you're young, you're not going to build it when you're old. Like I said, it gets really hard to build muscle as you get older. Not to say that it's impossible to build muscle as you get older. It's not impossible, but do you want to put in all that work later when you're older? See what I mean? Or do you want to get good at lifting a heavy weight? Do you want to get good at lifting heavy weights, or do you want to increase your natural strength through muscle, having more muscle? Your natural strength. What's your natural strength? People are not satisfied. What is natural strength? Meaning you can pick up your wife or your kids or your shopping. That's your natural strength. Now think about that increasing. Let's say your weight is around, I don't know, 190 pounds, but now you weigh over 260. Will your natural strength not increase? If it is in myofibrillar growth. I'm not talking about sarcoplasmic. Okay, dude. I'm talking about myofibrillar growth. Has your natural strength not increased? Of course it has. See what I mean? The majority of people, when I see young people come in the gym, the most they could bench, these little skinny kids, they could bench like, I don't know, two 10-pound weights on each side of the bar. It's 55 and two 10-pound weights. That's what they usually start off with. That's their natural strength. Now let's say they gain some muscle, quite a bit of muscle. Well, maybe their natural strength, they can start with two 45-pound plates. I don't know. I can't tell you what their natural strength would increase to. But I'm just saying they could always come back and do two 45-pound plates. In the beginning, they could only do two 10-pound plates. Hello, get it? Or maybe they could only squat like, I don't know, two 45-pound plates, but now they could do 315 without practicing anymore. They could go away for long periods of time. They have a lot of muscle growth, and they could come back anytime and do 315. But then there are people that never grew any muscle that weigh 160 pounds, and then what do they have to do? They have to keep practicing at 350 pounds, because if they go away, it'll go back to their natural strength of two plates. Get it? That's why people complain all the time. They come to a gym and they say, "Hey man, yesterday I could squat 500. Today I could barely do 250." See what I mean? Because it's not based on natural physical muscle strength, muscular strength. It's based on something chemical that you're maintaining as a lifting gym slave. Yeah, man.
Again, your arms will get worked pretty significantly from all of that. All right, and then I have the pullover in there, which I feel like kind of finishes everything off. So people will say, well, what does the pullover work? The pullover works almost everything. It works the pectorals, it works the lats. Again, very good research on that. Okay, works those things. It works the long head. A lot of people notice that the long head of their tricep gets significant growth, significant stimulus, significant DOMs, and it makes sense biomechanically when you look at it. Okay, so again,
Significant growth, significant DOMs. Did he just say DOMs? He said DOMs, significant growth. You're not getting growth, but you may be getting some DOMs. That would indicate an adaptation if you get DOMs.
it complements the bench press very well. Again, not telling anyone that they don't need extensions. I personally have to do extensions. But between those two exercises, you will get substantial tricep growth. You'll get substantial pectoral growth. All right, it also tends to work the
Where, Blaha? Show us. Where is all this growth? Pectoral growth and all that.
entire shoulder. It's great for shoulder mobility. So it does work the different heads of the delt.
It's great for destroying the mobility. If you keep lifting heavy weights on a skinny little weak body, eventually you're gonna end up much older. You may even end up crippled. I can't really tell you for sure. I don't know what people will end up as, but I definitely don't want to end up as a lifting slave.
And I think that's kind of a point between those three exercises
I
that
don't want to be a lifting slave, nor do I want to be a gym slave. I don't know what people's their definition is of a gym slave or a lifting slave or a diet slave. Here's the thing. When I say diet slave, I really mean it. I mean people that are like Oprah Winfrey. She's a slave to her diet. She gets big, she gets fat. She gets big, she gets fat. That's a diet slave. Get it? Me personally, I don't believe in diets. I believe you should eat your natural diet. Okay, it's based on behavior, and then you don't have to be a diet slave. Here's the thing. You don't have to be a dieting slave if you eat your natural diet. You understand me? Because your body will be normal. Okay. You don't need I don't want to be a lifting slave either. A lifting slave meaning I grew some chemical strength and now it's all dependent that I come into the gym and I have to be good at lifting a heavy weight all the time. For what purpose am I lifting these heavy weights? No purpose at all, just to lift a heavy weight, which is really fucking retarded. That is insane. If anything, if you were to ask anybody, that is astronomically. If you ask a person working in a job or construction or anything, you say, I go to the gym to be good, a lifting slave, to be good with chemical strength, to lift a heavy weight. Constantly, I have to go there to maintain it. And you're not even getting paid to do that. Is insanity. Get it? Okay. So it's not based on muscular, natural strength. Okay, because it's based on chemical strength because you can't build muscle because you don't know how. Okay, so a gym slave is somebody who keeps coming in. They keep lifting weights they're trying to create the body of their dreams, but they're never really creating the body of their dreams. They've never reached that goal. And so they keep coming in the gym, hacking at it forever and ever, but they're never changing. You see that they're never changed. They always look the same. They never really change. There might be some slight change, but there's not a lot of change. And then they're trying to maintain that phony look that they created through sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. Get it? There's some newbie gains there maybe in the beginning, but a lot of it's sarcoplasmic. And so they're trying to maintain this low body fat by coming into the gym, thermogenic effect, and they're trying to maintain the sarcoplasmic muscles that they created for the visual aspect of looking like they're jacked or something. Get it? And so they're a slave to these artificial things, these fake things that they're doing coming to the gym. And then you get the fitness slave. Now, the fitness slave, he recruits lifting slaves and gym slaves. That's what he does. The influencer, I call them fitness slaves. See that? And these fitness slaves, they're into fashion and everything, looking cool and nice. They have to have all the nice gear coming into the gym and all that. That's what the fitness slave does. Yeah, and they've got, so a lot of them have got YouTube channels and whatever the hell they're doing there. See, and they always use the word fitness. They always talk about fitness. They want you to be fit. They want you to be fit. They don't necessarily want you to be jacked or lifting the heaviest weight, but they want you to be fit. They have nothing against people lifting heavy weight or getting jacked or whatever, but they definitely want you to get fit. They want you to do exercise and get fit and wear the latest gear and buy this and buy that, buy their Gymshark gear and look pretty and cute in the gym and have a nice aesthetic look, okay? So that's the fitness dude, fitness slave.
That your delts will actually get pretty significant stimulus and hypertrophy from these. Now, will some people, depending upon their goals, benefit from extra delt work? Of course. So again, when I make these statements of these exercises, I am not saying that these 5 movements will give you maximum muscle growth or perfect balanced muscle growth in every single muscle. What I'm saying...
Yes, you did. Yes, he did. He said they would grow muscle, all these exercises. Well, now he's going back on his word.
Is that between them you will see significant measurable muscle growth in every single muscle in your entire body. These are classic lifts that were favored tremendously.
No, you won't. You'll see newbie gains. You'll see that growth, and then you'll never see that growth ever again. The only growth that the majority of people ever see in the gym is sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. See that? Because they're adapted to all these exercises and they don't know it's based on an adaptation system. And even if they were to get an adaptation, they refute that adaptation. They run away from it. They hate it. And they never eat enough to push that adaptation, to push that domain limit. So then they can keep increasing it.
By old school classic bodybuilders before anabolics and PEDs became the norm. They're time proving they're effective, and between the 5 of them, you can build one heck of a base. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative.
One heck of a base, yes. It's been very uninformative. Look at him. He's got a plate here between his leg, and he's doing these pull-ups, and it's always in the rep range of 10. He's never changed anything. They're always the same rep range, the same stuff. There's nothing going on here. I'll see you in the next one, man. Tell what you think about that. Like, subscribe, support the channel. Helps with the algorithm. I'll see you in the next time. Yeah, you're gonna build muscle. The weights have magic powers, and when you lift them, they build muscles out of thin air. See you later.